Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Binta, and if this is your first time, feel free to look around my channel and consider subscribing if you like what you see. But if you're an oldie but a goodie, thank you so much for tuning in and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is about Gambia, of course, Gambia. And this video is very dear to my heart because, of course, it is talking about the betterment of Gambia and what the future may have hold for us. But everything here depends on us and everything is in our hands as a people, okay? So I wanted Gambians to listen to this particular video because this man here has spoken nothing but facts, absolute facts, okay? His name is Nyang Njie, and Nyang Njie is someone that I do agree with. I would say 80 to 90% of what he says, but sometimes we may have some disagreements. But today, I am 100% in agreement with him because, like I said, he has spoken nothing but facts. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys watch the rest of the video, like, share, and subscribe. And of course, I will see you in my next one. Enjoy the rest of the video.
We need to have an honest conversation with self, conversation with each other, conversation with us, the Gambians. This is a Gambian affair and a Gambian issue. First, if the old constitution, our current constitution, was all well and good, we won't be talking about having a new constitution. Secondly, if Yahya Jammeh was serving a purpose, we would not have had an election that booted him out and booted him out unceremoniously. And that in itself is the reason why we said we're going to have a new constitution. A constitution that speaks for the people called the Gambia or Gambians. A constitution that guarantees the rights of the Gambian. A constitution that gives us an equitable social contract whereby each and every Gambian has access to opportunity economically, politically, and socially. Having said this, after the I won't call it demise because Yahya Jammeh is still alive. After the fall of Jammeh, we decided that one of the most fundamental and important pillars is the rebuilding of institutions of states. And we cannot build institutions of state if we don't have a guiding document and a principle called a constitution. The government of the Gambia and the people of the Gambia spent in excess of over $100 million to make sure that we have a draft that the citizenry can debate, discuss, and ultimately send to a referendum to make sure that we have a unanimous decision as it relates to our guiding principles as a people. Well, unless, once again, Gambians, we are myopic, or we suffer from amnesia, or we're indifferent. We saw what President Barrow and his enablers did in killing the very draft that we have spent so much to get on going. And now, after killing it, that's why Nyang Njie in Wolof said, "Buñ nangu President Barrow rey ñu bepare di ñu jale." Why did I say that? We knew that the invincible hands that killed that draft constitution did it for one thing and one thing only: personal self-interest, not the collective good. We were not fighting over principles that affected an overwhelming majority of people. We were fighting on principle of how long someone can stay in office. That's not what the Gambian wants. And if Nyang Njie happens to have it his way, no Gambian will be a president for more than one term of 7 years. And that way, if we happen to have a blunder, we'll live with the blunder. After the blunder, you are no longer. If you know that you're not going to run for re-election, you will try and leave a legacy behind. But that's a topic for another day. What we need to know and discuss today is the problem is not Doi that abstained. It's not the parties that went to Nigeria or civil society. The problem is Adama Barrow and his cabal of enablers. And up and until we square in and zero into that problem, I guess we are further dividing all of us who need to galvanize our resolve to make sure that the people's voices are heard. President Barrow needs to be told that we, the Gambian, reign supreme. President Barrow needs to be told he is nothing but a mere servant of the people. They have hoodwinked Gambians into believing that the Constitution as is about this camp or that camp. What a shame that we all bought into that bogus and gullible ideology that's not true. The president and his team cares less about our social contract. The president and his team cares less about protecting the rights of Gambians, because no one is talking about the secularism issue that was there. We're not talking about many other things that we put in there, the diaspora having the right to vote. What we are talking about will affect no more than 100 Gambians for the next 30 years. We will not have more than 100 Gambians running for 4 electoral cycles as president. So 100 Gambians over 2 million Gambians. But the architect in chief is one person and one person alone, the president. We need to bring the discourse and the debate back to the center. And what is the center? The center as is that the president need to respect the Gambian. The president need to respect the struggles of the Gambian over the past 50 odd years, especially the last 20 years. We have suffered and suffered too long and too much for one person to look at his narrowly defined interests and want to cage us within the parameters of those interests. We are either stupid collectively as Gambians. I'm sorry, that's Nyang Njie's way of speaking. We either stupid or we are falling victim for another dumb somebody to tell us what the topic is. President has conveniently moved the topic from a constitutional killer to a constitutional resurrector, which is not true. And we Gambians, that's the first thing we must not allow. He is changing the narrative, and he is changing it so fast, and the critical mass that should come together and point fingers at him and tell him what he ought to do for the people are so divided on semantics. No one should blame Doi, like I said, because people must be principled. And I think, I for one, respect Halifa Saleh and his team for not taking part in something that was a dead end. There was no light at the end of the tunnel that Goodluck Jonathan was brought in to bring. Why? Fundamentally first, once again, a Gambian affair needs a Gambian solution. This is a Gambian problem, and it will be fixed by Gambians, because ultimately it's us who's going to decide. That's number one. Number two, the president, either he doesn't believe in the transition. Well, I can safely say he doesn't believe in the transitional program we've set, because the very transitional pillars of this administration, other than the TRRC, have all failed. Failed because it lacked the courage. What's the courage? Enablers of Jammeh are still blue-eye boys in this system. That must stop, and it needs to stop. But bringing it closer to the Constitution, the president and his cabal are the problems of Gambians and are the problem of this Constitution. So please, let no one blame Doi, let no one blame a UDP or any other group of Gambians who want the president. Dafko tufli, na marat tufli ham. You see, people need to understand where power lies. People need to understand their strength in numbers. People need to understand that we are the boss of President Adama Barrow, and it's our way, or for him, the highway. And when will we as Gambians understand the magnitude of our strength, the magnitude of our strength, the magnitude of the Gambian strength needs to be exercised so that the people, the political class, put respect in our name and nationality as Gambia. They are disrespecting us in the sense that they are playing games with us. They are playing games with our lives. And guess what? They are riding on our backs to get a better life at the expense of the greater good. So who is stupid? Them or the masses of Gambians? And it's the masses of Gambians who need to do something to stop this. President Barrow needs to be stopped on his track. And right now, I can tell you where this thing is going. We will have a talk, and the talk will be the campus and the VOOs. We will talk about this, and the more we talk about this constitution, the window closes. When the window closes, we will have an election. When we have an election, we are not going to have an election based on what we want, but we may end up having an election based on what is possible. And what is possible may be detrimental to our collective good in the medium to long term. I will tell Gambians one thing. Everything we are suffering today is because of one person, Adama Barrow. Why? We all agreed we had a problem, and that's why we booted Jammeh out. And since we booted Jammeh out, we wanted impartiality, someone that will come in and will not punish any Jammeh sympathizer or supporter, so long as your hands are clean of blood and our money. But guess what? This particular referee called Adama Barrow, who was supposed to usher in a genuine, sincere, clean transformation in a transitional government or program, has now decided he wants to be a player. I don't mind him being a player, but if he wants to play, he cannot hold the whistle as the referee anymore. And this is the folly of the Gambian. How can we allow someone who wants to be in the playing field to have a say and a control of how this game and the parameters of this game is going to be? This is why I am saying we as Gambians are either indifferent to our plight or we are part of our problem. And we should not be part of our problem because we have suffered for far too long. And very soon, my generation will understand that our sun is setting, not that we are getting old. We need to prepare the next generation of Gambians and give them a better country than we lived in. If not, we have failed them. And right now, that's the trajectory we are taking. And that is serious and that is scary. And that's why all conscientious Gambians must get up, wise up, and rise up to the occasion that the Constitution is the alpha and omega of our existence. And it is what is going to identify who we are, what we stand for, and what our aims and objectives as a people are. This is so sacred that we must fight and be prepared to die for this document. And how are we going to fight? We are not going to ask people to take arms or anything. That's not what we want. What we want is to make sure that collectively as Gambians, we understand where power lies. Power lies in us. Why should we allow ourselves to be hoodwinked by someone that we are most likely smarter than? Guys, we have been taken for a ride. And the person that's taking us for a ride, we are not stupid. What's wrong with us? This is not a political issue. The draft constitution goes beyond politics. It goes to the heart and soul of our civic responsibility, our Gambianness, our pride and dignity as a people. And if our pride and dignity as a people is about to be bruised by someone who doesn't care about your pride and dignity, you need to rise up. And in rising up, that's when a citizen is doing duty and honor to country. The time has come for us Gambians to do duty and honor to our country because country has given us so much. But you know what? We're bickering about mundane issues that are so irrelevant. Halifa Saleh is not our problem. Lawyer Usainu Dabo, as it stands today, is not our problem. Our problem is one person and one person alone. Our commander-in-chief, our citizen-in-chief, our champion-in-chief, who should have been at the driver's seat and the driver's steering wheel, steering the car, our constitution to where we wanted it for clean passage so that Gambians will have an equitable social contract to make sure we can move together collectively as one nation under God. That's what Gambians expect. This president is not championing our document. He is mute. This president is part of the reasons why this document is where it is, and it has to stop. Do we respect ourselves as Gambians? Do we have pride in ourselves as Gambians? Do we have conscience, conviction of courage to say that this constitution must not be made a destitute by selfish politicians? Or I will only say politician, because it's the president who should make this happen. The president was voted in to give us a new dawn. And a new dawn cannot be given if the president is yet to utter his mouth and tell legislatures, let's do whatever it takes to make sure this constitution passes. Guys, open your eyes and understand that Gambians are not fools, but let us not be deviated from the subject. The subject is, who killed the draft? Why was the draft killed? Why should we have a compromise? You see, as people, we need to be principled. Adam Barrow can lose election next election cycle. So the 15 years he wants, he may not even get. But that's not the issue here, Gambians. The issue is we must be steadfast and be principled to say, no, you are not going to tread on our backs. We refuse. And we should and we must refuse for him to do what he wants, even if he's going to lose the election. We should be proud. We should be steadfast. We should be resolute that, Mr. President, it's our way or the highway. And this time it has to be our way, because Solo Sandeng didn't die for nothing. Femi Peters didn't meet his ultimate death for nothing. The heroes that were out on the streets when Barrow was not out, number one. Number two, some of his cabal today that are enabling him were not out. It's a mockery to who we are. And this is what people need to see. Forget about the politics and the partisanship in this constitution. The issue is not the constitution, it's not the politicians. It's now us, the Gambian. We need to understand, we the general public, the citizenry of this country, we have more power than His Excellency the President. We are more powerful than all the political parties combined. We are more powerful than the Chief Justice and his bench. We are more powerful than the army, the police, the NIA, the immigration, prison, everything. Because they derive power from us. We are sovereign people. You cannot be sovereign and you allow yourself to be subservient to your servant. That is stupidity at the highest. And we people are not stupid. But I think we are lazy, we are lethargic, and to a large extent, we are indifferent to our collective good. And this is what we need to stop. We need to tell the president that we want our draft to be reintroduced. Laws are made by man. Let's not wait for 60 days for it to be gazetted. Let us have a fast track so that we will have a window to do everything we ought to do, from registration, from who is a citizen, who is qualified to have a voter's card, to a referendum, and ultimately to an election. This is what we need to tell the president. And about the parliamentarians, this is not the time for us to talk about the parliamentarians, because once a draft is put back there, I can safely assure you, Gambians, that what happened the first time around will not happen again. Never again will that happen. We were caught off guard, and we will never be caught off guard, because this document goes beyond an election. This document goes towards our way of life, towards our identity, towards our aspirations and vision, and also towards our protection. So any one of you watching, Gambian, and you decide to fold your hands and be indifferent, you are not a good citizen. You are not a dignified Gambian. You should not be proud to call yourself a Gambian, because someone is maiming, someone is raping your constitution, and you're folding your arms and watching. That is wrong, It must not be accepted. It should not be accepted. And it should not be the way forward. The way forward is for all of us to leave the politicians minus Adama Barrow. Forget about Halifa, Usainu, Ismaila Cisse. Forget about them. But all I am saying, power lies with the people. Power belongs to the people. The Gambian is a sovereign state owned by sovereign independent people. And these independent people must not allow political machination by selfish, self-centered egomaniacs to hijack our collective good. If they want to hijack our collective good, we must rise up and wise up and do what is right and take care of our nation. Nyang Njie is thanking everyone who took their time to watch, but I want to motivate each and every one of us to get up and do what is right. I want to motivate each and every one of us to do the right thing for country. And doing the right thing for country is getting up and make sure that Gambia reigns supreme. When Gambia reigns supreme, it means we are at the helm. When we are at the helm, our presidents can be our servants. Then our servants can work for us. You cannot be a servant / master. And today, Adama Barrow is trying to be a master. When was the last time you heard Adama Barrow open his mouth and talk about our destituted constitution? Not once. And he should be the champion in chief to make sure that this constitution passes. He should be the one to make sure that this constitution happens to have a lifeline. When this constitution failed, he didn't address the nation. When he was about to introduce the constitution to the assembly, he didn't even call the assembly members and ask for their support. Therefore, he never supported it. And how can he be our servant when we have tasked him of a task? He refused to do it and wants to do what he wants to do, and yet still you Gambians cannot see that no one else is the problem but that one person. Let us put politics aside. Let us put personalities aside and hold Adama Barrow accountable and responsible for his dereliction of duty as it relates to this constitution. If not, we have all failed. And if we all failed, we have nothing to show or tell the next generation of Gambians. It means we're good for nothing, and I think we are better than good for nothings. If we are better than good for nothing, it's time for action. And that action is to show Adama Barrow who we are and what we want, and what we want is what we expect him to do. The time has come. Thank you, Gambia. May God bless the Gambia, and may sanity prevail in the way we think and the way we conduct our public discourse. I think we have really boxed in the issue of this constitution to a place where it shouldn't be, i.e., partisanship. The constitution is not for UDP, it's not for NPP, it's not for Citizen Alliance, it's not for DOI, it's for Gambians and the protection and advancement of the Gambian interests. If the Gambian interest is to be protected and to be advanced, it is blind of partisanship. Therefore, let us come together as one Gambia, one people, and show Adama Barrow what we want, and what we want is what he will do. Adama Barrow is not smarter than us, but his game plan is winning. Thanks to people like you and me, because he is shifting the burden. He is shifting the responsibility. And now we are putting the responsibility where it doesn't belong. The responsibility belongs to the executive to put this document where it ought to be. Then the people will decide, because it's a people's document. A people's document needs consensus from the people. Hence the reason we will have a referendum on this document. If not, we are nowhere, and that's not where I expect us to be. So rise up, Gambians. Rise up to the occasion. This is an occasion for you, for me, for all of us to show Mother Gambia that she is not a destitute. This is an only occasion in a lifetime, because maybe after this there will not be another constitution, for God knows. Therefore, Let us rise up and show Mother Gambia that she gave us so much, and we are going to give her back multiple of what she gave us.